Hello, everybody, and welcome to Business and Life Insights. And I have the pleasure today of presenting Dave Gieselman, who you'll learn more about later. So grateful to have him on board here today. He's got lots to share. He's such a big, huge ball of positivity, and he's got the universe in his mind and his heart. And let me just give you a brief introduction before we bring him on. And so Dave is a former professional chef with decades of experience in high performance environments. Dave now focuses on coaching, speaking, and breath work. A pressure management specialist with a deep understanding of neuroscience, flow state, and the tools of high performance, Dave helps individuals, groups, and organizations manage the costly challenges of stress, overwhelm, and burnout. So, Dave, welcome. And what do you have to say about that intro?
So that is who I am. My name is Dave Gieselman, and yeah, I cook professionally for a long time here in Los Angeles, and now I teach all of the stress management, nervous system management, time management, task management skills that are required to thrive in a high-end kitchen environment to people who are in environments where those skills aren't front-loaded, and it's a joy to do.
Oh my gosh, and it's so needed, help with all the pressures that we every day are in and under. But so so you're a 5-star chef. That's very intriguing. You're a professional chef, and that was your life for a really long time. Can you take us through the transition? So that's very impressive that you're a culinary gastronomic phenom, and such a pleasure to be with. So tell us
Thank
about
you.
your earlier life, and then how you transitioned into what you do today.
So I started cooking professionally very young, um, and it is a very stressful environment. Uh, I was fortunate to have people around me who encouraged that growth, who encouraged that sort of path for me. But it's a stressful environment. I, like many young cooks, attempted better living through chemistry, if you know what I mean, and I got caught up in substance abuse. I got caught up in addiction, and in my early 20s, substances got taken off the table for me as an option. So I had to find a way to regulate my nervous system uh, because I didn't want my environment to change. Right? I wanted to keep cooking, and because I didn't want my environment to change, and I had to find a different way to regulate my nervous system. So I went diving into sort of neuroscience, flow states, peak performance. I began studying SEAL teams and extreme sports athletes, uh, breath work, mindfulness, meditation. I had to find a way uh, other than chemicals to try to regulate my nervous system in high stress, high pressure environments. I was working in some really great kitchens in Los Angeles. I was very, very fortunate to have the mentorship that I did and work under the chefs that I did. So I got to learn how to develop myself and develop my own sort of nervous system in high performance environments, and really began sort of coaching in those places. I've been coaching now for about 20 years. It's something I've always done. And in 2017, it was time for me to leave uh, the professional kitchen environment, and I began coaching, speaking, and facilitating breathwork full time, which is what I do now. I ended up developing my own modality of breathwork, which is Limitless Flow. That is my modality. It is specifically designed to put the body into flow state, transient hypofrontality, and uh, there's a deep satisfaction. Really, my job hasn't changed. I feed things. It's just what I do, and I used to feed things with food, and now I just feed people in other ways.
Wow, Dave. Yeah, thank you so much for being so candid. Your vulnerability is touching, and there's a wholeness now, a feeling of really giving that I'm getting from what you
Mm.
just said. And you have found another part of yourself that you're now developing and helping others develop within themselves. And I'm really interested now and curious about your limitless flow breathwork modality. Can you describe what that is? And maybe you can give us a little bit of how a background on how you were able to develop it.
So the limitless flow modality is all neuroscience based. It is evidence based, and it is a system of breath. Really, it's very similar to. There's a lot of breathing systems out there. There's a lot of modalities out there, and it is very similar to some of the longer form breath work modalities that we see. The holotropic, the circular connected breathing. A lot of these modalities, and they what they do is you get into them, and they're sort of longer and they're deeply immersive states. The limitless flow, this session, it's a 90-minute session. The standard session is about 90 minutes. It's about 50 minutes of focused intentional breathing. There's a few different rounds that all kind of look the same, with periods of really sort of intense breathing, and there's some breath holds, holding both with and without air. It is designed minute by minute, to trigger flow state, to trigger transient hypofrontality. Transient meaning it doesn't last real long. You can cultivate it but not capture it. Hypo meaning slower or less than, and frontality referring to the prefrontal cortex. This is the newest, most human part of our brain. It's a part of our brain responsible for understanding of self, understanding of time. The prefrontal cortex is long range planning, risk assessment. It's where the ego lives. It is the sort of that self referential part of your brain. That's the part of your brain where the voice of the critic lies. That voice that follows you around and criticizes everything that you do. It's a part of our brain that scrolls through Instagram and compares our boring life to everybody else's awesome life. And and so this type of breathing is just the most efficient way I've ever found to put somebody into that state. And when they enter transient hypofrontality, we are shutting down the prefrontal cortex. There's about 22 different flow triggers. And when you put humans, you stack up like 5 to 7 of them, human beings just kind of drop in. And flow triggers, I mean, like, completely focused on an activity, deep immersion, a sense of purpose, a sense of intensity within. There's a whole bunch, and once you line up about 5 to 7 of these triggers, most human beings drop into transient hypofrontality. And when this happens, your brain fires off a whole cocktail of five neurochemicals: endorphins, anandamide, uh, oxytocin, adrenaline, and dopamine. Your body starts kicking off these things. Anyone who has ever experienced, like, this is what runners call runner's high, right? This is what
Mhm.
extreme sports athletes call the zone. Surfers, snowboarders, free solo climbers, skydivers. Uh,
Mhm.
anyone these guys, we think they're chasing adrenaline. They're not. They're chasing transient hypofrontality, because when you catch that wave and you go into the barrel of that wave, it gets very quiet in here. It gets very quiet in your mind when you're free solo climbing a rock face, or you're skydiving, when you're doing these things where you're completely immersed. You have to be completely engaged. Like, the mind gets very quiet. And when we do that, we enter this state, and all the sort of self-referential thinking
Mhm.
goes away. All that sort of self critique and that type of thinking falls away, and we just go into
Mhm.
this space that is very powerful, and people experience the benefits of flow state for up to 3 and 4 days after experiencing it.
Powerful, my gosh, and there's a lot of terminology that's new to me, so I don't wanna, well, maybe you can help us. There's, the frontal temporal mo
Transient
mhm,
hypofrontality,
transient hypofrontality.
right?
Yeah,
So it doesn't last real long.
mhm,
And, hypo meaning slower, frontality referring to the prefrontal cortex. We are
right,
temporarily
mhm,
shutting down the prefrontal cortex.
mhm,
That is
mhm,
what that means. We are
oh,
temporarily down regulating the prefrontal cortex of the brain.
right,
And
so
that's the part of the brain that's self-referential, that
yeah,
is long range planning, risk assessment. This is deep critical thinking.
yeah,
Um, and so we are shutting that down temporarily. We're going into the subconscious. We are going into sort of deeper places, and in that space, we find that you can sort of untangle old stuck emotions, old
mm,
stuck energy, and begin processing it out at a really high rate.
wow, oh, that's amazing, and just really I can just mind-boggling. So,
Well,
yeah, please go ahead.
yeah, so anyone who's done like a yoga session or something, and then they stretched or they got a massage, and they suddenly found themselves crying, right? And you get this huge like emotional release. It is
Mhm,
very similar when I
mhm,
do my public Saturday sessions, which are hybrid. People can come to.
mm,
We have people who join us live, and people join us from around the world. We
mm,
get these huge sort of emotional releases and emotional experiences, big ahas, the challenges and situations you've been kind of Rubik's cubing in your brain for months suddenly
mhm.
kind of lock into place, and you get this inspiration, and people experience like huge bursts of creativity and productivity and motivation and inspiration for days after a session like that.
Right, days, that's quite a while after it must sounds very powerful, and it is very powerful. You're reaching into a part of the yourself that is not judgmental. It just is.
That's exactly it.
Right. Yeah, it just is. And we aspire to be joyful, and it seems like that gets released.
Yep,
Um, Very basic human needs and ways of being get released when they're not judged by our frontal cortex,
exactly right.
right? Put into boxes that are really artificial that we make up ourselves.
Mhm.
And then, so oh, what a sense of freedom also that brings to people, I would think.
You can move through old, like, emotional kind of baggage pretty quickly, and have people in just a few sessions who make more progress than, I've heard people say that they've made more progress in 4 to 5 sessions than they have in 20 years of therapy. I had a woman, uh, who told me that until she started doing breath work with me, she had never known what it was like to not be suicidal. And
Oh,
and let me make the statement. I am not claiming that this cures suicidal ideation. Her experience was that when she started doing breath work with me, that suicidal ideation went away for her. Uh,
yes. So highly personal, highly individualized, and everyone, though, comes through learning something about themselves that they didn't know before,
right,
or an appreciation or a realization because the frontal cortex is not in the way.
right, right. That's
Wow.
exactly it.
Yeah. So you get down to the raw human being.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
The part of your brain that's going to sit there and overthink it all and wonder if you're doing it right, and wonder if you're reading it right, or understanding the situation right. You're just putting that part of your mind down for a while so that you
Right.
can just sort of exist.
So, because you mentioned it, you have these Saturday sessions that anyone can enroll in. Could you tell us more about that?
Right. So they're Saturday mornings, 10 a.m.
Mm,
At the Scribble community in Highland Park in Los Angeles. I
mm,
will give you guys a link to join,
mm.
and now for your listeners, I will also give you a uh, a coupon code. If you would like to come join me for free,
Mhm.
you are welcome to come try this out. See what it feels like. You can join me either live or online. Our next session is October 5th. Like I told you in the agreement right before this, I'm just about to jump on a plane for Aruba. I am taking off for about 10 days, and
Mhm.
I will be swimming with some sea turtles on a well-deserved vacation, much needed vacation. Our next session is October 5th, and I will give you the link to sign up for that and a coupon code. So if any of your listeners would like to try it, would like to find out what this modality is about, what is
Mhm.
flow state breathwork, I think I would like to try that out. They are welcome to be my guests to find out what this modality holds for them.
Fantastic. That's so generous of you, Dave. All right. And I'll make sure that they get everyone who's registered gets that link and the
Wonderful.
coupon. Thank you so much for the generosity. And who wouldn't want to find out what this is about for themselves, because there are transformative possibilities.
Absolutely. Come breathe with me. Come give me 90 minutes of your time. You're gonna breathe your ass off for about 50 minutes. Okay. You're
Yes.
probably gonna cry. You're gonna have a huge emotional release, and you'll be back for more.
All right. Yes. Fantastic. That sounds fantastic. Can you tell us some more about? Oh, that's very interesting. That well, many people have their own personal responses. They go through their own transformative journey. All right, can you share a little more, of course, without disclosing anyone's identity, about some of the other, in terms of profession, the family situations,
Oh,
things
for
like that?
sure.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
no, I work with professionals all the time. I work with groups. I work with I love doing corporate retreats and leadership retreats. Uh,
Hmm.
and you can you I'm going doing a leadership retreat not next month, and I'll do a half day workshop on sort of the physiology of stress management, right? Sort of the how to breathe in ways that when you're in your moment of stress, when you're in that challenged moment, ways that you can calm your nervous system, right?
Hmm.
So when we feel most of us when we feel like we're stressed, right, we feel like we got one toe nailed to the ground and we're just turning in circles trying to
Yeah.
figure out what the next thing to do is. We understand what is on our to-do list, but prioritizing suddenly gets challenging. It's hard to do. It's hard to figure out what the next right action is. And the prevailing belief is if I can solve the problem, the stress level will drop. And actually, the exact opposite is true. Until you lower the stress level, you will not have access to the part of your brain that's going to solve the problem.
Hmm.
Now, there's a really good, really old evolutionary reason for this. I'll give you the quick nickel tour of the autonomic nervous system. So we'll take you back 50,000 years, right?
Wow.
And you and your Paleolithic partner have had an amazing Paleolithic day, and you're going about your Paleolithic business, and you're heading down to the water. You've been eating nuts and berries and fruits and squirrels and whatever you've been doing all day, collecting wood, doing whatever you and your Paleolithic partner do. So you're heading down to the stream to get some water, and a wolf pops up, right? Your nervous system snaps into fight or flight, right? You see the wolf, and you are facing an existential threat. You are facing a deadly problem. So your now job is to escape the wolf, right? When your job is to escape the wolf, there's certain things that do not serve you, right? Being super hungry, having to poop or pee real bad, being super horny doesn't serve you, right? So the body, when we are in our sympathetic nervous system, when we are in fight or flight,
Hmm.
our body shuts those things down.
Hmm.
It shuts down digestion, it shuts down elimination, it shuts down libido, it shuts down a number of processes in the body when we are in fight or flight, which is why people who spend a lot of time under stress develop tummy problems, bathroom problems, bedroom problems, right?
Mm.
Because you're not supposed to live in that state.
Mhm.
So when your job is to escape the wolf, deep, complex, long range, abstract thinking also doesn't serve you, right? So your body shuts down your neocortex and your frontal lobe, and your amygdala is running the show. Your amygdala and your hypothalamus, like these, the parts of your brain, they have no capacity for language. They have no capacity for rational thought. They draw no distinction between past, present, and future. No distinction between true and false. They are completely emotional and completely reactive. They're not the parts of your brain that are going to solve your problem unless your problem is escape the wolf, right? When your problem is escape the wolf, those are the parts of your brain you want running the show.
Right.
When you are solving more complex problems, you want access to more complex parts of your brain. So I
Mm.
teach people when you're in that stressful situation that you open that email and there's that situation and you feel the tension rise. You're about to walk into court and it's going to be a challenging day. You're about to get on that phone call. It's going to be challenging. You're about to have that conversation that you don't want to have. You're about to step on a stage and you're nervous about talking in public. And you go into your sympathetic nervous system. Your
Mm.
body feels is experiencing there's a wolf, right? I am in a deadly situation. You're not, right?
Mhm.
So this is the moment where you get to take control of your autonomic nervous system. The heart sends 60 times more information to the brain than the brain sends to the heart. If you want to control your brain state, you control your heart rate. If you want to control your heart rate, you control your respiration. When you slow your breathing down, you slow your heart rate down. When you slow your heart rate down, the brain goes, "Hey, what are you doing? I thought we were freaked out about the thing." And the heart goes, "No, you're freaked out about the thing. We are
Mhm.
just fine."
Mhm.
The body has to tell the mind that the body is safe before the
Mhm.
mind releases fear. By the way,
Mm.
that's the only direction that information travels. The
Wow.
body has to tell the mind that the body is safe before the mind releases fear. So when you slow your breathing down, your heart rate slows down, the body tells the mind that it is safe, and the mind releases fear. So you get your neocortex back, you get your frontal lobe back, and now you have access to the part of your brain that is actually going to solve your problem.
Wow, I hadn't heard that before, quite stated that, described that way. That makes so much sense. The
Right?
physiology, the neurology of it.
So I've been shouting just effing breathe at cooks for 30 years, right?
Uh-huh.
They're in that stressful situation. I,
Mhm.
I need you to stop. I need you to breathe. Right?
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
I need you operating from a higher functioning part of your brain than
Mhm.
you're currently functioning in. I
Mhm.
need you to breathe. And
Mhm.
so when you slow down just a little bit and
Mhm.
you get people breathing, they drop out of fight or flight, they go into their parasympathetic nervous system, and
Mhm.
now they can operate from a more a deeper complex thinking place,
Mhm.
and they're able to engage with others. They're able to be a part of a team. They're not just like this panicked thing trying to make things the thing right in front of them happen. There's
Right.
a greater sense of operating within a much larger structure.
My gosh. Did you have a mentor who brought this realization, this enlightenment to you about
Uh,
breath?
it was a series of things. It was a series. Like I am a student of Stephen Kotler, the author of Stealing Fire.
Mhm.
I'm a student of his. My first breathwork coach, Kai Van Bodie, helped me develop Limitless Flow.
Mhm.
Um, but I'm a big fan of all breath work. I love Wim Hof, right? I think
Mhm.
I think most people's experience understanding of breath work kind of begins and ends with the Wim Hof method. I think Wim Hof is great. Here on the West Coast, at least, there's JP Cremini. There's that guy with Tally who's on tour, and he puts people in huge hotel conference rooms and lays them down and gets
Mhm.
some breathing. Does kind of cool stuff. There's lots and lots and lots of different. My good friend Joey House, who's a Wim Hof instructor and a Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy, a former Marine. He's one of the best guys I've ever met.
Wow.
He's a really great guy, and we operate in sort of different modalities in breath, and he's incredible. So shout out to Joey House. I love you, brother. And he is an amazing demonstration of how breath can change entire communities and change uh, can change people. I work a lot uh, with drug addicts and alcoholics in recovery. Because I have a history with addiction. I've been sober, like I said, a long time. I am more than happy to bring breath work and this type of mindful meditation to the recovery community.
Oh, fantastic, amazing, and wonderful work that you do. Now that we've talked a little bit about it, could you take us through some of how do we get into the state that we're talking about here?
You come to my session on Saturday, but I'll give you a couple really, really great breathing practices, right?
Okay.
So, and who was that? Oh, his name just fled. It'll come to me.
Mhm.
There's the physiological side, right? So if you are stressed out, you're in traffic, you're stressed out, you're sitting at your desk, and you're just in a stressed out place. You're about to go into court, you're about to go into that meeting where you have to present. You're really anxious, you're really in a wrapped up place. You do the
Mhm.
physiological sigh. And so the
Mhm.
physiological sigh is you take a great big deep breath in through the nose.
Mhm.
When you fill the lungs, you take a few extra sips of the mouth and top it off. So, and you hold, relax shoulders, swallow saliva, focus on your third eye. You hold for about 15 seconds. And then a long, slow exhale through the mouth, all the way out. When you exhale, lean forward just a little bit, kind of crush all the old, stale air out of that lungs, and take another deep breath in. All the way in, feel the belly, feel the rib cage, feel the chest. Take a few extra sips of the mouth, top it off. Relax shoulders, swallow saliva, focus on your third eye, hold, and then a long, slow exhale all the way out. And we'll do one more at the end. Crush all the old, stale air out of your lungs. And great big deep breath in. All the way in, feel the belly, feel the rib cage, feel the chest, top it off, few extra sips at the top. Really hyper those lungs. Hold. And then a long, slow exhale through pursed lips, all the way out. How do you feel?
Wow. Very calm, at ease,
Mm. Mhm.
joyful, and I know there's more, but yes, this is, yeah, very, very soothing, very
Right. So
relaxing.
this is how you drop your nervous system if you are stressed
Mhm.
out. So
Mhm.
this works because this is how the machine works. It can't not work. It doesn't work because you believed it. It didn't work because of magic. It didn't work because of chakras or energies or crystals or anything else. This is how the machine works. And when
Mhm.
you breathe like this is called the physiological sigh. Andrew Huberman, who is uh, a neuroscience professor at Berkeley, talks a lot about this on his podcast. Andrew
Mhm.
Huberman talks about the physiological sigh. It is one of my absolute favorite intervention style breaths. I
Mhm.
need to shift my nervous state right now. I am too stressed out. I can't move forward. I can't make decisions. I got to get on with my day, and I feel locked, right? I feel
Mhm.
stuck. do
Mhm.
3 physiological sighs. That is a great intervention style breath.
Mhm. Yes.
An
Go ahead.
Another type of breathing that you can do, and this is you can do any point during your day. It will help you just kind of stay regulated. Anytime you think of doing it, a lot of people know box breathing. So inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4, and just kind of do that. They call it box breathing. It's because a box has 4 sides. You hold it 4 counts. It's a great breath. They teach a lot of people this. It's a great stress management technique.
Mhm.
4462 is a better breath. It
Mm,
works better, right? And so I call this is a called a clarity breath. And so you inhale
mm,
2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3, 4, exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, hold 2. Inhale 2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3, 4, exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, hold 2. One more. Inhale 2, 3, 4, hold 2, 3, 4, exhale 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, hold 2. You can do this in traffic. You can do this at your desk. You can do this while you're watching TV anytime. And doing this a few times throughout the day will just help you regulate your nervous system. It drops you into your parasympathetic nervous system. Anytime you're about to do something, I use this breath whenever I transition activities, when I go from seeing a client to working, in my business, working on my business or working in my business. I go
mm,
from seeing a client to doing my billing or whatever, writing my next blog. Whenever I transition, I
mhm,
do this type of breathing. And it just kind of closes the door on this and opens the door on that so I can move seamlessly, because humans are not multitaskers, despite anything anybody says. Human beings are not built for multitasking. What many people do when they talk about multitasking is they talk about task switching. And there is a huge bandwidth and energetic cost to task switching. And a
mm,
lot of people can do it for a long time until they can't anymore. And
mhm,
then it's uh, a very taxing process. And so
mhm,
focus on one thing, then
mm,
make a smooth transition, do something else. And so
mhm,
whenever I transition from one activity to the next, I always make sure to include some breathing in the
mhm,
process, to close the door on this and open the door on this. And you save cognitive load. You free up cognitive load when you finish one thing, transition, and then begin another.
Cognitive load. What is that?
That is the amount of stuff that your brain is juggling at any given time, right?
Oh,
So
oh,
when a lot of us, we got 4 screens up and 8 tabs open, and we're thinking about one thing and we're taking notes about other things, and we're having one conversation and thinking about something else. That's all cognitive load. That is all that, just like the CPU in your
mhm,
computer. and
mhm,
and it's working too hard on a bunch of stuff that it doesn't need to.
mhm. Right.
And so focusing on one thing at a time, transitioning from one thing to the next thing consciously and intentionally saves you cognitive load. It decreases cognitive load because it means you're only focused on one thing at a time. Your focus is not diffuse, it's not scattered, and you can really hone in on the thing that you're doing without feeling scattered. So often, so many of us feel scattered. I have so many things going on. I'm trying to think about all of them at the same time and keep track of all of them at the same time, right?
Yeah. Don't you know
And,
it? Yeah.
and it's exhausting, right? It's exhausting, which is why it's why having a clean calendar, having a really really well developed calendar system, and some good time hygiene is super important. When I work with clients, one of the big things we talk about is time hygiene. How clear are you about how you are spending your time? How intentional
Mhm.
are you about how and where you are spending your time? Look, you're welcome to do anything you want as long as you do it on purpose, right?
Mhm.
I mean, like, you want to scroll social media? Great, scroll social media. Decide here's an hour that I'm going to scroll social media. And when you take that hour and you scroll social media, do
Mhm.
nothing else but scroll social media. Do it
Mhm.
with joy and do it with abandon
Mhm.
and have a great time doing it. And when it's time
Yeah.
to stop scrolling social media, stop. Take a few breaths and now do the thing you need to do now, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Do anything you want, do it on purpose. Do not operate unconsciously.
Yes, or unconsciously with stress when you have got trying to juggle so much
Absolutely.
at one time. And yeah, like you say, no one can do it or do it well. And on top of that, you've got the stress and the anxiety, and just waste of energy and mental capacity.
That's exactly
Right.
it.
You said something there I really like, time hygiene. It sounds like something very healthy to do, being hygienic with your time.
Yeah, it means you understand what your day is going to look like. One of the first things that I look at when
Mhm.
I get up in the morning and I do breath work and I do meditation, as part of my day. I do journaling as a part of my day. It's an
Mhm.
important part of what I do. And then when it's time to start looking at what my day is going to look like, the
Mhm.
very first thing I look at is what my day is going to look like. And my calendar is meticulous. I live and die by my calendar, which means
Mhm.
if it's not on my calendar, it doesn't
Yes.
happen, right? I'm
Right.
not doing it.
Mhm.
And because I can see where I need my focus, when I need it. I'm very clear about what's going on today. And I'm
Mhm.
very clear that nothing is going to pop up. Oh, you forgot about this thing. Oh, don't forget you. No, if it's not on my calendar and I calendar my errands, I calendar everything
Mhm. Mhm.
because that time hygiene, being very clear about where my time is going, what I am doing with it. So then when I'm frustrated, right? Because we all get there, I don't
Yeah.
have enough time. I'm running out of time. I feel like I'm not doing it right. Right.
Mhm.
And I feel like I'm running out of time. I can look and I can see where
Mhm.
I'm spending my time. And then now I have some choices to make, right?
Yeah.
Do I want
Right.
to wake up earlier? Do I want to cut this out? Do I want to cut that out? Do
Mhm.
I want to rearrange things a little bit? Because
Mhm.
there are certain non-negotiables. I need 8 hours of sleep, right? Sleep
Yeah.
is the number one lever for most people. It is the number one thing you can do to increase your capacity is get more and better sleep. And for most people, it's the first thing that they're willing to sacrifice. I'll just stay up later and
Yeah.
get more done.
No, that's right. You compromise your brain health when you
Absolutely.
do that, don't you? And breath
Absolutely.
work helps heal the brain
Mhm.
and ourselves as we're dealing with life and wanting to accomplish more with the time that we have on this earth. Wow.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it sounds like we might be making a segue into careers and with having a hygienic calendar. Um,
Right?
so, can you talk about how breath work can help a person's career or their business?
Absolutely. So having all of these pieces in your life from the breath work, I will tell you the three highest leverage, lowest cost things that you can add to your day to
Mm-hmm,
improve your personal life, professional life, and your health. The
mm-hmm,
three things that you can do, the highest leverage things that you can do is add 10 minutes of breath work a day. And if that's like 10 minutes of like Wim Hof breathing, when you get out of bed, it doesn't need to be limitless flow. It doesn't need to be my stuff. Like there's lots and lots and lots of breath work out there. I invite people to try all of it. Find
mm-hmm.
what works for you. I am not the only game in town. Uh, I like lots of different types of breath work, but like a 10-minute morning breathing practice At
Mhm.
some point during your day, get 20 minutes of meditation in and
Mhm.
get at least 20 minutes of journaling in.
Mhm.
Um, breath work, I like it first thing in the morning. So the first squirt of dopamine that you give your brain during the day is the thing it's going to chase all day long, right? If you've ever had the experience of, the first thing you wake up, you grab your phone, you start looking at news or social media, whatever, and you're just kind of on your phone all day long. You're kind of chasing that dopamine hit on your phone, or if the first squirt of dopamine you get, you get up and you walk through the kitchen and there's that half a cookie or that bite of brownie left over from last night, and you throw it in your mouth before you do anything else, and then you find yourself like chasing sugar all day long, and by noon you've eaten no real food, you're exhausted, you have a belly ache, you need a nap, you're starving, but you're full of pastries and weird stuff, right? The first squirt of dopamine you give your brain during the day is what it will chase all day long. And you get this opportunity to decide what dopamine you're going to give your brain. And so I choose breathwork. I choose an expansive type of dopamine response from my brain. So I do breathwork first thing in the day. Uh,
Mhm.
meditation clears the cache, right? It just helps you get quiet for a minute. it
Mhm.
it, it slows your thoughts, it quiets your mind, it allows you to see the sort of chaos that your mind is in, and just the
Mhm.
ability to be still and be
Mhm.
quiet. It doesn't matter if you do a guided meditation, meditation with music, a walking meditation, it doesn't matter. Just if nothing else works, just shut the hell up for 5 minutes, right?
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
4 times a day, just decide to just shut the hell up, right? Be still, right?
Mhm.
Do
Mhm.
anything, just sit, just be still. Most people cannot be comfortable with themselves just being still for 5 minutes. It
Mhm.
makes a lot of people crazy, right? They want to
Mhm.
crawl out of their own skin. Uh, which
Right.
is, by the way, like limitless flow breathwork, a lot of these breathwork modalities are great for people who find it really hard to meditate
Mm.
because it is meditative. And so if you have this busy ADHD mind, like some people, uh, you have this busy mind, uh,
Mhm.
breath work, like a guided breathwork session, really helps because you're doing something that it's something that your brain can kind of grab hold of, and you're doing,
Right.
and then you go to a space. And then finally journaling. I cannot recommend it enough. Every single one of my clients has been told to write. They've all been given journals. I have a journal for sale on Amazon. Like, I cannot overstate the value of writing your thoughts down. And a lot of it's just garbage. What happens is the human mind thinks in pictures and emotions. Most of us think in pictures and emotions. And when it's in your mind, it all makes sense. Just like when you're in a dream, it all makes sense. All of the plot of a dream makes sense. All the characters in your dream make sense. The backstory of the dream makes sense. Moving from one place to another, it all makes sense. When you're in your dream, it makes sense,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
And it's when you try to explain your dream to somebody, that's when it all falls apart, right? Because then you're like, yeah, it was you and me, and the armadillo was there. I don't know what it was doing, but then we were in San Francisco, but we were on a submarine, right? But in the dream, it all made sense. It was perfectly reasonable that all those things happened, right?
Right.
In the
Yeah.
dream. When you try to explain the dream, and this is the value of writing, as soon as you start trying to write down this nonsense that is this circus that's going on in your head, you are forcing your brain to language these thoughts. You are forcing your brain to fit these thoughts into structures of syntax and language and grammar and all these things. And it subjects them to critical inquiry. It subjects them to filters of critical inquiry. Does this make logical sense? Does it make rational sense? Is this true? And you start writing these things down, and you begin languaging what's going on in your brain, and you go, "Oh, there's a lot of nonsense in there."
Yeah.
Right? There's a whole
Mhm.
bunch of nonsense, and once people get in the habit of that, and people ask, they go, should I go back and read it? No, no, no. There's no value in going back and reading old journals. Think of it as like vomiting into a bag. Like, you don't go back and look in the bag. Just keep a journal. When the journal fills up, throw it away, burn it, do it, whatever. There's nothing valuable to be found in like a daily journal. It's it's garbage. It's just old stuff that your brain benefits by getting out. And for
Mhm.
the same reason that you no longer remember phone numbers, right? We don't remember phone numbers anymore. Our phones remember phone numbers. Our
Mhm.
minds know this, by the way. Like, you remember the phone number you grew up with. You probably remember your first boyfriend's phone number, but
Yeah.
like I have a 20-year-old son. You couldn't point a gun at me and get me to recall his phone number. I've never remembered that thing. My phone knows his phone number. Why would I remember it? Right?
Mhm.
So the mind does something very fun. As soon as you write your fears down, all this stuff down, I think that my friend is doing something weird. I think my wife is cheating on me. All this stuff. Your mind releases it because your mind goes, oh, the paper remembers it. Like, I don't need to remember it anymore. That's written down somewhere.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so when we write our thoughts down, it just clears space. It clears it frees up bandwidth. It frees up
Mhm.
cognitive space
Mhm. Right, for creativity to take
and creativity
place or
to take place.
planning. Yeah. Mhm.
Right? Then
Planning.
you can do creative writing. Then you can do that the writing that you're gonna want to save. 20
Mhm.
minutes of writing a day, just to bang out 20 minutes, 3 pages. It's just nonsense. None of it matters. Just write whatever's on your mind. And for the
Mhm.
most part, it's just kind of garbage. And then you can be done with it. Your mind won't remember it, and you can just
Mhm.
discard
Mhm. Mhm. How much time should we spend journaling?
it. 20 minutes a day.
20 minutes a day. Yeah.
The guide I give everybody is 20 minutes or 3 pages, right? Just
Mhm. Mhm.
it it's not a lot of time, but if you were to spend, so it's an hour. If you were to spend 10 minutes doing breath work, 20 minutes meditating, 20 minutes journaling a day, you add an hour to your day, I guarantee the amount of bandwidth, the amount of freedom, the amount of physical freedom that hour every day opens up for you, you will never miss it. You will never wonder, like, how am I going to get that time back? Now what do I do?
Mhm.
It is the highest value, highest leverage, lowest cost things that you can add to your day that will improve your performance, personal, professional, romantic, communication, all of it. These, if you add these things to your day, every aspect of your life will improve.
Well, that's very compelling, Dave. And yeah, every aspect of your life will improve.
Well,
Yeah.
I double dog dare you to try it every day for 60 days and then message me and call me a liar.
All right, we heard it here. Yeah, everybody's got the challenge. The gauntlet has been thrown down by
You got
Dave.
it.
So for the next 30 days, journal. Well, let's see. We'll do breath work for 10 minutes,
10 minutes of breath
meditate for
work.
20, and then also journal for 20.
Hmm.
Okay,
And
you
let me
got it.
know. Do it every day for 30 days. Let me know how it works out.
Okay, you got it. I'm gonna put that in, post it on social media, and
I love
then
it.
come to you. Why not? Give it a try. Wow. So Dave, is there anything else that you'd like our folks to know about you, or what did we leave out that you'd like to speak about?
Just if there's something that you have a question about, please feel free to reach out. I'm happy to connect with anybody. If there are specific things that you'd like to ask, please feel you can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on social media, Facebook, Instagram,
Yeah,
and such. And come join me for breath work. Come find out what that looks like, and
absolutely.
see if that's something for you.
Right, absolutely. We'll let you go to Aruba and then we'll connect up with you again. But so the last breathwork session before you go to Aruba is
Has
local
already passed.
time.
So the next breathwork session is October 5th.
Okay, October 5th. Okay, in a couple of weeks.
Couple
And
weeks.
then some. Wow. All right. So give me all the details. I'll make sure that people have that. In the next
Absolutely.
post, we'll share multiple times so that people can take advantage of this wonderfully beneficial way that people can really give themselves a new outlook on life and new capabilities and new heart, new brain, new everything.
New all of it. Just
Yeah,
better
all,
working.
yes, better working human being all the way around. And so, and people have other people that they speak with. It necessarily does affect them too. You'll probably be so joyful, you'll want to share.
Absolutely. Bring your
Mm,
friends, bring your wives,
right.
bring your husbands.
Yes.
Uh,
All right. All right. I'll have to check it out myself. I'm local, so I also live in Southern California, so I will come. On
you
the
can
side.
join me in person or you can join the live stream. Either way.
Wow, what flexibility. So the world can come join you.
We were giving away breathwork 3 days a week for free during
Mhm.
the entire duration of the pandemic. Like three
Oh,
days a week, 3 sessions a week, we were giving away breathwork. Because I was like, how can one guy help? What can one guy give? One guy can give away breathwork. And so
mhm,
this Saturday session is one of the sessions that we just converted into a hybrid session. And
mhm,
so people who've been joining me from around the world for years now can still come and enjoy it, and there's a place for locals to come and experience the energy of doing it with a group of people, and it's a very
yeah,
different energy. Both experiences are very cool. One is not better than the other. They're just very
mhm.
different.
Very different, and to share it with others. So I would think that the power is even stronger.
It's intense. It's a lot of fun.
All righty then. So you heard it. We've got to stay with Dave and do our breath work, improve our lives, and improve our careers and our relationships with people we love. So do stay in touch with Dave and stay in touch with me too. Thank you so much, Dave. We are about making life better for others. Definitely.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having
Yeah.
me, Mel.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dave. And if we can, maybe we'll have you on again in the near future.
I would love that.
Would that be all right? We'll tackle this from another perspective. So
We'll do it in 60 days and see how your viewers have done.
that's right. Okay. Yes, let's do that. We'll see how people have done with the 60-day challenge. Very good. Okay, fair enough. All right, everybody. Thanks so much for joining this week. Next week, we're going to be talking about some business strategies. So stay tuned. And in the meantime, get in touch with Dave, do the breath work, follow his suggestions, and see your life improve. So for now, thank you so much. So we'll see you the next time, and have a great week, everyone. Okay.